No. I'm gonna give you to the count of 3, Stitch. 1.
Hello everyone, welcome to another Real Rap Review. This is JP Boney, and today I'll be reviewing Lilo and Stitch, the live-action remake of the 2002 film. So let's get into it. It's been out for a while, but I'm just reviewing it now. I know. But I just saw it, and I will say, I am a big fan of Lilo and Stitch. I grew up with Lilo and Stitch. I've seen the movie, the second movie, the spin-off, the other spin-off, the TV show, the anime, the other anime. There's been a lot of Lilo and Stitch stuff out there. And if you're my age or a little bit slightly older, maybe a little bit slightly younger, you grew up with Lilo and Stitch. Late millennial, early Gen Z. Like I said, I was born in 2001. I grew up with Lilo and Stitch, and seen everything. So, with that said, how does this fare compared to the rest of the franchise, considering it's nostalgic for a lot of us? Well, I think it's a fine movie. I will say this. If you do not care about Lilo and Stitch that much or didn't really grow up with it, I think you will enjoy this film a lot because you have no connection to it or anything. But if you are a huge fan of Lilo and Stitch, care about the lore, grew up with it, I think you'll like it for the most part, but you might be mixed. I will say that. I think there will be a lot of mixed feelings about this film. Why is that? Well, I'll get to that in a few, but first I want to talk about the positives, then we get into the negatives. So the positives, I think it does a great job capturing that Lilo and Stitch feel. It really feels, like the cinematography is really good. There's a lot of funny moments. I think the story is pretty fine for the most part, but like I said, I will say there are some mixed parts about the story. But, for the most part, I think it's pretty fun. It's a fun adventure. Like I said, a lot of funny moments. Now, the cast, the person that plays Lilo does a phenomenal job. I don't know how old she is, but if she's close to Lilo's age, which is 6, of course, then wow, she does a great job. Like, I don't know, if I was her age, I don't know, if me at that age would be doing so good at that. Because I would probably be struggling, especially when you have a person that's acting like Stitch in a CGI suit. I would probably be, laughing so much and everything and making childish jokes. So props to her. She does a great job here, especially feeling like a Lilo. When you see her on the screen, you're like, yep, that's a Lilo right there. And I feel the same way about Nani. Nani does a great job here. The actress that does play Nani, she does a great job feeling like Nani, all that stuff. Great job. Her name's Sydney Elizabeth Agudon. I think I said that last name right. Then there's Billy Magnuson, who played Peakley, and I think he does a great job as Peakley too. He felt like a Peakley. And then there's Courtney B. Vance, who also plays Cova Bubbles. I think, like I said, for the most part, everyone is pretty well casted here, except for one, and I will get to that one in a few. But yeah, I think it does a great job capturing the feel. I think for the most part the story's fine with some mixed stuff in it. But I really enjoyed it. It's an enjoyable film. The runtime is fine. Not too much negative to say there. But with that said, now let's get to the negatives. Why do I think that this will be a film mixed with a lot of Lilo and Stitch fans? Well, there are two major things in the story that I was mixed on one of them, and in the end, I think I was like, okay, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's okay, it makes sense. But then there's one thing where I'm not. Now, the first thing is in regards to the direction of Nani and Lilo's relationship. It still feels like a Lilo and Nani relationship, don't get me wrong, but I won't spoil it, but there's a certain thing that happens in the film where you're like, oh no, wait, what? This makes no sense. Here's the thing. It's a remake, but it's gonna have a lot of changes, and that's one of the bigger changes. And at first you'll be like, oh, I don't know if I like it. And some people will still be like that. Some people won't like the change, and I totally understand because I was like that at first. The more I thought about it, though, the more I don't think I minded it. So, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Now, the one thing I can say I didn't like, and it's not a spoiler, but I will say he sucks in the film. Zach Galifianakis as Dr. Jumba Jacoba. Now, if you have seen all of the Lilo and Stitch shows or movies, or at least one of them, you'll know that Jumba is a nice guy, nice alien. He has a Russian accent, all that stuff. Like, it is, you know, he's fun for the most part, and he's a good alien. He's a good guy. I will say in this film, he's the total freaking opposite, and they ruined Jumba. They did such a horrible job with Jumba, especially because the biggest thing is he doesn't feel like Jumba. He does not, and it is just so bad. I cannot accept that. Even, you know, I was thinking about it after, and I think I hated it more than I did while watching the movie. Like, he's just horrible. I think he was miscasted. And the fact that he doesn't even have his Russian accent that he has in the... Like, I get changing up a lot of stuff, but at least keep the Russian accent for Jumbo. Like, it's stupid. It's so dumb. I think that the direction they went with Jumbo in this film was really, really terrible. I don't think Zach Galifianakis was a good fit for this role. Or if he was, they could have made a better direction for Zach. And I like Zach Galifianakis, but he just doesn't hit in this movie. He feels too much like Zach Galifianakis and not Jumbo. And that leads into the other thing too. I don't like the fact, I get it's probably for budget reasons, because I'm sure those CGI designs weren't cheap, but I do not really like the human aspect that much of Jumbo and Peakley. They're disguised as humans. If you've seen in the trailer, they, you know, clone themselves to look like other humans, and I don't know if I like that. It's just, like I said, I get that there has to be changes, but when I put it in the way I did for Jumbo, I think Billy Magnussen did a great job feeling like Peakley still in his, you know, Billy Magnussen's look. But with Zach Galifianakis, it's just like, oh, well, it's just Zach Galifianakis. Oh, but then there's Zach Galifianakis as an alien. And I just don't like that. It's just not a good addition. I think that it kind of hurts the movie quite a bit. And I just wish it was better. I wish I could have liked it more, but I think it does ruin the movie for me because, like I said, I understand there has to be changes, you know, because you don't want to do a full-on remake. You want to make it a little bit different that stands out on its own. But I think this was a horrible change, especially because, you know, Jumbo is such a huge, important part of, you know, the family, you know. So it's just not a good change. I think a lot of people will end up hating this iteration of Jumbo. So with that said, I think this movie does enough to get me enjoyed, but I will admit that those two big changes, maybe three big changes, kind of ruin it for me. The other one I've kind of come to grow on a bit, but in terms of Jumba and the human aspect, I don't know, I don't really like it that much. So anyways, I think this film will be a 3 out of 5 star rating. Still pretty decent. I still recommend you watch, especially if you have kids. I think the kids will have a blast with this film. But, you know, if you're a Lilo and Stitch fan, I think you might be a little bit disappointed with it. So, what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Check out realrapentertainment.com for articles. We're doing a great job there. We're killing it. So, yeah, check that out. Check out our other reviews. Check out our shorts. And I'll see you guys next time for the next Real Rap review, which will be of
7, 6, 11.